What's going on, nerds? Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Let's get into it. Spoilers, non-spoilers, everything. Let me just move these out of the way. My girlfriend left. I guess she got tired of the Zoe Kravitz jokes, unfortunately. First things first. The shoes that Ryan Coogler had to fill is just insane. I literally do not understand how they even thought to make this movie after that. I couldn't do it. I don't think I would have the balls to make that movie. Obviously, with the red flag in the room, Chadwick Boseman. It's just insane that they kept it going, and they did it so well in this movie that they kept it going. It baffles my mind. With that being said, first off, a lot of people are going to try and compare this to the first one, saying, is it better than the first one without Chadwick? Honestly, I said this in my other review. I think that it's a different movie. I think that it needs to be viewed a different way. You can't really compare it to the first one, just simply because, I mean, you can compare it on a movie aspect if you're a fucking nerd like that, but you can't really compare it as to if it's, you know, a better Black Panther movie, because it's just different. It takes on different themes, it takes on different roles, it has different things going about it, and it's just a different movie, I think. And it needs to stand by itself. Obviously, with the passing of Chadwick Boseman. With that being said, it's staying by itself. I think Shuri did a very good job. Shuri is one of the highlights of this movie. Her whole arc of trying to become the new Black Panther, or trying to take on that role of Chadwick, is honestly a really good thing. It reminds me of Peter Parker, reminds me of the same kind of aspect of him trying to take on the role of Tony Stark and deciding if he wants to even be like that. And I think they did it very well. I think there's stuff later down the line. I'll talk about how she kind of viewed that decision and who else she kind of thought of. But I think they handled her kind of stepping into that role very well. I was a little skeptical about it at first because I mean, you know, when you look back on those other roles, she's kind of the side character. She's not the main drawing point to the Black Panther movie or to even Avengers Infinity War and stuff. She's kind of a side character, and she steps into that main role in this movie, and I think she did very well. She did very well acting, everything. On the upside of that, another good part of this movie is Namor. I think they handled his villain aspect very well. If you even want to call him a villain, they try to paint him and his, I'm going to refer to his country as just Atlantis, because that's basically what it is. It's just knockoff Atlantis, and he's a knockoff Aquaman, even though he came before Aquaman. But either way, they try to set Atlantis and him up to be this doom, this bigger, badder country, more technologically advanced than Wakanda and all that. And in the beginning, they really do feel that essence. No spoilers, but there's a part where the Americans are trying to drill into the ground, into the seafloor to get vibranium, and the Atlanteans and Namor stop it. And it's at night, he's flinging a helicopter around, he's doing some crazy shit, and you get that feeling of, damn, these guys are serious. They're not fucking around. And you do get that feel a little bit. It kind of drags on during the movie. Once you actually see the country, once you actually see the world, it's like, really? Could they do this? But I think they handled that very well. It's very cool to see the underwater city, Atlantis, if that's what you want to call it, and I think that's really cool. He is great. The actor is great. The way his whole motive is great. Like I said, I don't know if you want to call him a villain, because he's kind of doing that good guy, bad guy shit that they always do for Marvel villains, where he's like, yeah, I just killed a lot of people, but I'm doing it for my country. I'm doing it for a cause. You know, it's like that. It's like Thanos. Like, I did this for a reason other than just being an asshole. So. But they handled him very well. I liked his character. I'm not gonna act like I know who Namor was, or Namor. I'm not gonna act like I knew that character. But being introduced to him as a first-time viewer, it was really good. I think they handled him very well. And outside of Shuri and Namor being the big two powerhouses for this movie, everybody else does a great job. There's no one person who is bad at acting in this movie, who has a stupid plot point or stuff like that. Everybody, I think, does a very good job. M'Baku does very good. Okoye, all those other side characters, the mom, the queen, everybody is amazing in this movie, emotional, everything, and that's really what sells it for me, I think. So at this point in Marvel, a lot of people are saying that they're falling off. A lot of people are saying that Marvel just doesn't have it anymore. They're not making good movies. And I think this put Marvel back on the playing field. I knew it would. I knew it would be emotional, and I knew that would be a big seller for me, of knowing it was going to be emotional. And they carried it out with it. I think they did the best they could. And that's a big selling point. It's just everybody being emotional and this overarching, feeling of dread. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of bad shit happens to Wakanda, and a lot of bad shit happens to Shuri in general, and it sucks, and you feel that. It's that feeling of terror, and I really enjoyed that. That was a big emotional piece for Wakanda and everything like that. But outside of that, I'm gonna get into spoilers in a second. But outside of that, I think it's very good. It does miss its beat along because it is almost 3 hours, and I'm not gonna lie, it did feel like 3 hours. It felt like I was sitting in that chair for a long ass time at some points. But overall, I think it does very good. It misses that beat on character, on developing more about Namor's homeland, about developing more about Shuri's loss and feeling of loss. But overall, I think it did very good. If you like the first one, you're probably gonna like this one. If you like Marvel movies, you're probably gonna like this one. Like I said in my other review, I'm gonna give it an 8.5. Go watch it, go see it. But as of now, I'm gonna get into spoilers. So the number one thing I talked about earlier that I really liked was Shuri. I really liked her character. I really liked her trying to battle if she was going to be like her brother, or if she was going to be like somebody else who I really wanted to come in this movie, Killmonger, who is kind of the bad guy, but they served a great purpose. Whenever she takes the flower and becomes the Black Panther, she sees Killmonger in her dreams. She sees Killmonger in her astral projection, and she's filled with that choice of if she wants to be like Chadwick or she wants to go down the vengeance path and be like Killmonger and kill Namor and get revenge because he killed her mom, and just hold this whole thing. And I think that's really what sold me. And that last kind of second, third act of her trying to make that decision was probably the best part of the entire movie, I think. I think whenever she becomes Black Panther and she finally accepts who she wants to be or tries to be, that's the best point in the movie. Parts where it fails are kind of in the middle, I think. There's a couple plot points, one being the one with the federal agents, and another being kind of the Ironheart plot point. They connect, but I feel like if they spent more time on just developing Shuri and developing her coming, having these mental decisions of if she wants to be the vengeance ruler or the compassionate ruler like a Chadwick Boseman, and if they would have spent more time on that and not really had Ironheart's not bad. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. She is in the movie. She has some pretty cool funny lines. And it is cool to see her in the movie, I'm not gonna lie. But I feel like if they spent more time on Shuri and more time on developing her, it probably would have been better, I think. But that's the only really faults. There's not that many faults in the movie except for pacing and just kind of filtering out the story. This is a movie that put Marvel back on the stage and brought back that emotional element. And honestly, they did it well. I got everything I expected. I knew Shuri was going to be in the role. I knew that it wasn't going to be anything special, like as far as stupid cameos or anything like that. As far as the past couple movies we've expected to be like that. But I knew this was going to be a soul story on the emotional battle of Shuri and coming to terms of being the new Black Panther, and I think they did it very well. The CGI I think the CGI looks really good in most points. A lot of people were saying the CGI looks bad, but I think the CGI looks very good in most points. I don't want to say that it looks bad compared to She-Hulk and compared to the other BS that we saw. I think the CGI looked really good. They did good with the water. They did good with the aspect. One of my major flaws, this is probably my last flaw, is the end. There's a battle between the Wakandians and the Atlanteans, and it just ends. Like Shuri has the option to kill Namor and end it for good, but she stops. She gives him mercy. She says that they want to work together, and there's this whole other battle in the middle of the sea between Wakandans and the Atlanteans, and it just stops. They roll up, they stop, like, oh, farewell, we're not gonna fight anymore. It was the most Disney ending I think I've ever seen, because they just killed half the Wakandans. And half the Atlanteans just died, and then they roll up and say, okay, done fighting, guys, we're gonna be friends now. It was the most Disney shit I've ever seen. It was like in Pocahontas where it's like Thanksgiving and they just decide to be friends again. It just did not make any sense to me, because I watched that and I was like, you just killed half the army of Wakanda and we're just gonna be fine now? Like, whatever, sure, you got it. And you killed our queen and we're just gonna be fine now? They infiltrated Wakanda and pretty much flooded the city and we're just gonna be okay with that now? Like, what? Honestly, I wouldn't take that level of disrespect, but I mean, I'm not a ruler. Bro, look at that jawline. You see that? Look at these boulders. You see this? This is what you get. Look at that. All that a Death Star dealt right there. Ooh, okay, back to business. Like I said, guys, go watch this movie. It's one of the biggest movies I've seen people get shit on for their opinions and just can't have an opinion anymore. I don't think it's bad. If it was bad, I would tell you it was bad. If it was a shitter like Thor: Love and Thunder and Doctor Strange, I would tell you it was a shitter. but it's not. I think it's a very good, well-executed movie. It's what I expected from it to be, emotional. I almost teared up a little bit at the post-credit scene. They brought T'Challa's son in there, and you know, his name is T'Challa, and it's just like, damn, that's gonna be Black Panther in 20 years. Like that was probably the one thing that got me. The elements of that. I didn't cry because, you know, I don't cry. They respected Chadwick and, you know, built on to actually making a functional movie, and I think they did it perfect. Guys, go check this movie out. I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. Like I said, it's good. I think you guys are gonna like it. I mean, if you don't like it, you don't like it, but I honestly think you guys are gonna like it. You're gonna enjoy it. But yeah, go check it out. That's gonna be it. End of the video. I don't know what the next Marvel movie is or DC movie coming out. Maybe Shazam, but I don't know if I'm gonna make that. But if you guys got any suggestions on videos or topics y'all want me to cover, drop them in the comments and I'll check them out. But that's gonna be it, guys. Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Go check it out.